Great. And hello, everybody. Welcome back to the True Path Entrepreneur, your guide to living your purpose and growing a business you love with freedom and fun so you can work anywhere on your own terms. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a transformational business coach helping current and aspiring entrepreneurs align with their true purpose and launch their business so you can help more people, profit with your passion, and do work from anywhere on your own terms. And today I'm really excited because our next guest is going to talk to us about attracting new clients and building a business and really, getting yourself out there. And today I'm talking with Carolyn Shadrach. Carolyn, how are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me, Beth.
Yeah, thank you. And so Carolyn was a successful fashion designer, launching and building multi-million-dollar brands whose career spanned London, Paris, and New York before exiting the rat race and settling in Madison, Wisconsin. Carolyn shares 20 years of experience as a design executive for iconic global retail companies on how to build a strong, profitable brand. She also has extensive experience in digital marketing and web design. Carolyn is a client attraction mentor, speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of Core Story Branding. She specializes in working with coaches and consultants ready to jump off the income roller coaster and generate consistent, reliable, predictable income. And Carolyn, I am so excited to talk to people. It's so funny. I've done a bunch of these interview series, and I love when I meet people who also have a fashion background because that's where I started my corporate career. Right. So tell everybody, how did you get from, this fashion design background to now doing branding and client attraction and mentoring?
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's probably the similar story to you. At some point, I just kind of got burnt out. And I actually remember the date exactly. It was 2008, which was the year when the bottom dropped out with the Lehman Brothers and everything. And I remember there was a day in November when, at the time, I was living in New York. And if you ever lived in a big city, you know that people never make any eye contact at all. I mean, they kind of avoid it like the plague. But that day, everyone was actually really happy. Everyone was kind of looking each other in the eye and smiling like we had done it. That was the day that Obama got elected. Mm-hmm. The very next day, I was the middle of the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was on the subway with all my worldly goods in a box because my position had been eliminated. And at the time, I'd just been back from maternity leave, less than 2 months, I think. And so at this point, I had 2 kids, 2 mortgages, 2 houses, and way too much debt. And of course, I was freaking out. But so that actually kind of started me to think about, I have to do something else. And even at that time, I wasn't really happy working in the industry, but I didn't know what else to do. Like I was very kind of specialized in my area. And so fast forward, 4 years from then, I'm in Wisconsin, and I just made the decision that I had to find a different way to do something. Like I couldn't, like the industry was kind of not knowing how to cope with the whole internet thing. It was all kind of imploding, and I knew if I went to a different position, it would be the same thing. So I decided that I had to do something else. And what actually happened was someone introduced me to meditation through Vishen Lakhani, who has the Mind Valley platform. Mm-hmm. So he's very passionate about personal development, which I got into as well. In fact, it was transformational for me, like really finding my way to a life coach. It was literally like the clouds had opened. I was like, oh my God, why didn't anyone tell me any of this before? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd always felt as though things were happening to me as opposed to me being in control. So Vishen was really into that, but he was also into the whole entrepreneur thing. In fact, he had a group called Entrepreneurs, where you had to have like $1 million business to actually be in his group, which of course I did not have. But he started a group called Entrepreneurs for Startups. And I got into that group through Vishen Lakhani. And that's really what kind of opened me to the whole possibility of doing something outside of 9 to 5, that it is possible that people are actually doing this stuff. And the group turned out to be a lot of businesses that were just about to make their first million. Mm-hmm. So at the time, I had no idea what I was going to do. I couldn't even see how I could transfer my skills into something else. But it really kind of opened my eyes to what was possible. And that's how I really kind of got into this whole kind of entrepreneurial world.
I love it. And it's so common, right? It's like one thing leads to another. And I always make jokes about, if you don't start making changes now, I know a lot of people are listening or really, in the rat race, really feeling stuck and really feeling scared and know that they want to do something else. But if you don't make changes now, the universe will do it for you. Like, I'm like you, I lost my job at one point, I had my father die, I lost another job, and I was just like, you know what? I don't like this anyways. Why don't I actually do what I really want to do and follow that? And then it becomes this deep spiritual journey from that point forward, and a journey into this, like finding your true purpose and
yes,
doing
exactly.
something interesting.
I mean, I think now, like, and I'm like, all right, I call myself fabulous and 50. I still my sister. Like, I feel actually much more consciously doing what I love to do now than I ever did at any time in my life. And I mean, I will say that, like, if I hadn't been forced into a situation, and it's not like I really admire people who actually pick themselves out of a difficult situation, because it's difficult to walk away from that paycheck and having that income coming in, even if you are miserable, because most people's, that's just the way things are. It's like what you kind of see as being the norm, even though it actually doesn't work for the most part, but that's what we have in our minds as being the norm. But like you, I'm actually really grateful that I was actually pushed to do something else and find a different way. In fact, I remember I actually bumped into the CEO of the company, the last company that I worked with, in Target or something. I felt like running up and giving him a hug, because it was like the best thing that ever happened to me, to be actually laid off from the company.
Yeah. It's like turning lemons into lemonade. So I want to talk next about, I know you do this core story branding, and, branding and client attraction and sales and bringing in clients. It's all interconnected. And I'm curious, like, what is your take on, there's a lot of new entrepreneurs watching this, or people that have maybe just been in business a couple years, or people that don't even know what they want to do yet. But what is your take on branding and attracting in clients? Like, what's the trick, especially for early stage people?
Right. Well, yeah, because I think a lot of people have misconceptions about branding. Like, at one point, I didn't really like talking about branding at all, because people would immediately think, oh, well, I have to get my logo done, or I have to get my colors. And it's actually not about that at all. It's really about really understanding who your client is, and coming from that point of view and being kind of customer centric, and then really kind of putting your best foot forward in terms of what is it that your customer is looking for, and how can you be the answer to the problems that they have. Like, how can you find the solutions that they're going through? Like, a lot of the people that I work with, even though like some of them been in business for a long time, like 20 years, some of them are just starting out. But what I find is the common thread is that most people find it really difficult to niche down into a particular area. And it's like people are kicking and screaming. It's like, no, I can do my stuff for everybody. You know what I mean? I don't want to leave anybody out. And I can completely understand that. But at the same time, when you do that, what happens is that you end up actually not attracting anyone at all, because you're not speaking specifically to their problems. So, the best advice that I can give to somebody who's just starting out is to really hone in on who it is that you want to work with, and then really get to understand their world. Because the more that you can understand their world, then you can actually tailor what you have to offer, to build in solutions for them. So you can actually put packages together that really speak to exactly what they're going through. And then it actually becomes a lot easier, because you can, when you're thinking about copy, or writing a copy for a landing page or sales page or whatever it is, or even just, a newsletter or email, when you can speak to their particular problems that they're going through, then it just becomes a lot easier.
Yeah. No, I always tell people, it's kind of like rearranging the way we look at things. You really have to focus on, the solution to problems versus like what it is that you do.
Exactly.
Now, for a new person, let's say, a coach, because I know you and I both probably work with a ton of coaches, and, let's say they're not 100% clear. They know they want to help people. They know they want to work with women. They know they're spiritual, let's say. And then they don't know anything else, beyond that. Like, are there any tricks that you have for, people really getting in touch with like who their niche is, and how to communicate this out to them?
Yeah. I think that one of the things to get clear on is like your own personal preferences, because I think a lot of people, I don't know, first of all, they have a problem with finding a niche. So, and then some people, they get over that and they say, okay, well, they need to go after people with a lot of money, which is, it's true, you do want to have people to pay, but if the money is your driving force, but you have no other kind of commonality with these other people, it's not going to work. So you really want to dig deep to understand you as a person. What do you value? What are your values that you have? And then find people who have similar values as you. Because then it just, I mean, what happens if you can really get aligned at that point, it actually becomes not like work. It's actually just like just doing what you would love to do anyway. You know, people always talk about that, but like, how exactly do you do that? And it's really, a lot of it is about really finding out who you are as a person, what your values are. And then you start to share those values and talk about them when you're doing, you know, content marketing and stuff. You talk about how you feel about things, and then you start to attract those type of people as well. Mm-hmm. So that's the advice that I would give, is like to really dig deep and understand what type of person you are, and then try to attract those type of people.
Yeah. No, that's really good advice. Plus, then you're really going to attract in, you know, the authentic people that you really like to work with. You know, you don't want to just take anybody, you know, even though people watching this, I'm sure, think like, I'll take anybody, I'll take any client. And, you know, honestly, you won't get the best results with people that you're not vibing with anyway. So you definitely need to be aligned with them. Now, you know, does this also work the same way with, you know, I actually did a Facebook Live video about this a couple months ago, about a lot of people come to me and they struggle with this fact that they don't feel credible enough. They don't feel like they're an expert enough. They don't feel like, basically it comes down to like, they're not enough of something to even put themselves out there, to even try to attract a client. Like, and I know this is something you teach, is, you know, how to position yourself as an expert, how to put yourself out there. Like, what do you say to people who are struggling with this? Like,
well, you know, it's an interesting thing actually, because just yesterday I actually posted something about this myself too. It's actually, I asked people, do you feel like you have the imposter syndrome? You know, like feeling like you're imposter, feeling like you're kind of faking it. And now, interestingly enough, the reason I started thinking about it was because there was a TED talk where someone had done some research, and Maya Angelou, who I'm sure you know, like very well known. She wrote 11 books, and I mean, she was just an amazing woman. She always felt that she was not worthy, that she was like, you know, like an imposter, that she was, I know.
I'm over here choking because I'm like, what? She's like, God on earth embodied. Amazing.
Having the same thing too, you know. And then of course there's all those actors, you know, like Seymour Hoffman, you know, he was the actor, like he had the same thing. So, you know, when you think about it, like, no one is actually going to crown you. They're not going to hand you the crown. You have to claim it. And one of the things it actually talks about in the article is when you can actually speak about that, right? Speak about that feeling, and you can actually be vulnerable and tell people how you feel. That again actually attracts people to you, because they, instead of you kind of trying to be something that you don't even feel you are, right? And if you actually were perfect, they would feel like a distance from you, because nobody wants to work with anybody who's perfect, right? And so the thing is to be authentic where you are, and just share how you actually feel. But, you know, I will say that what happens when you do actually kind of niche into a particular area, you actually do become the expert in that area, because instead of having to be a jack of all trades to all people, right? And you can only do that under the surface level. When you actually dig deep, you actually do become the expert in the field. And so you can authentically say, yes, I am, you know, the expert on mums trying to get out to work, or whatever your area is that you decide to go into.
No, I love it. It's such good advice. And I think this is a huge part of why I call this series the True Path Entrepreneur. You know, the word true is really all about like, it's your own path. It's your truth, you know, combining the two together. And, you know, each human on this planet has their own uniqueness, their own authenticity, their own truth to share. And this is what will build your business. And it's so funny that, you know, because I remember being like this too. So many people come, you know, into this very confused and being torn in 20 different directions and trying, you know, 50 different strategies. But in the end, it really, the bulk of it comes down to this one thing, which is really just being so authentic and aligned with your heart and what it is that you want and what it is that you desire, and really putting that out there. And I'm glad you teach this, because it's
exactly. No, that's exactly true. You know, like a lot of, as you said, like a lot of people when they start out, there's so many different strategies you can do. There's so many different ways of doing things that it is completely overwhelming and confusing. And the truth is, most strategies will work if you do them long enough and you're consistent at it. But most of them actually don't teach you the one thing which you do have to do, which is actually have that come from a place of authority and empathy. And not just authority, it's the empathy as well, to really understand what your client's going through. And if you can have that, pretty much any strategy you have is going to work. But without it, it doesn't. And most courses or things that you actually kind of that people teach, they don't teach that part. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't work without it, which is why a lot of people are kind of struggle with things. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's just so funny because, you know, when I created the series, I really wanted to bring in people who are like really speaking the truth and really being authentic, because as we all know, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors, and there's a lot of like, you know, get rich quick kind of things out there. And it's so funny because probably like you, I talk to people all the time that are like, well, I tried this and I tried that and I tried this and I tried that and nothing is working. And like your bio says, you help people on this roller coaster of inconsistent income. And I'm like, oh my God, wait, but like you haven't built the foundation of the house. You're just trying all these strategies, but like, where are you? Like, where is your heart, your desires, your, you know, like your truth?
Exactly. As you said, I think it's easy for people to kind of pass over because, you know, like when you're first starting out, you've got no clients, you're wondering like, okay, am I going to be able to pay my bills? And you're thinking, look, I'll just take anyone. I don't care. I'm just going to take anyone. But then what happens is that because you haven't, as you said, haven't done that foundation work and really kind of dug deep, you know, you just can't get any traction like that. And it's really difficult to actually tell people that until you've gone through it. That's what I found. That, you know, you have to go through that kind of roller coaster before you realize, okay, hold on, this is not working. I need to do that other stuff first. You know?
Yeah, totally. And actually, this leads me to so you've written a book, right? And it's called The Client Attraction Code. And it's about how to position yourself as an expert, build credibility, and attract the clients you love. Now, first of all, I think that's awesome that you wrote a book. That's like one of my goals in the next few years when I get the guts to go do it and the time. But yeah, tell people, I know it's your free gift that's in today's email, but tell people a little bit what's in it, what's it about, how will people benefit from it?
Yeah, well, actually, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've talked about here was actually in the book. So it does talk about, you know, how you can actually kind of go in and find your niche, how you can position yourself and what that actually means. You know, what does it mean to be able to kind of position yourself as an authority? And I really kind of talk about it in a practical way, as opposed to as lofty kind of, you know, this is kind of practical steps that you can do. So, and to get the book, they can just go to, actually, you probably got a link there somewhere. But yeah, so what I found is that people have, once they've gone through the book, they get a lot of clarity about themselves. And that was really the intention of the book, to be able to help people to really kind of find what it is within themselves that they can really position themselves uniquely because they tell their story. So it actually goes into story too. And in a way that's going to make them be able to stand out from the crowd.
Yeah, no, it's really great. And I love that you said it's, you know, practical, like there's step-by-step exercises, and I'm sure it's things that people can actually implement. Yes. And, you know, especially for new people watching this, like it's so funny how many people come to me, you know, and they're like, I've been trying this for 3 years and I haven't had one client, or I've only had 2 clients over 3 years. And it's like, I always say, it's really like building a house. You know, you can't go try the Facebook ad or the marketing funnel if you don't have the foundation built. And what Carolyn's teaching here, this is completely the foundational work that you need to just start building the business. And, you know, and I'm sure you would agree with me, even if you're working a full-time job, even if you know that you want to make the transition eventually, like this is stuff you can start implementing now, right? Like you don't have to be doing this full-time.
Yes, it is true. I mean, you know, like with the book, it kind of does go into the personal things. So whether you're actually kind of working with your own business, or whether you're actually just having your own personal brand to, you know, to make yourself more marketable out there within your career, all of those things it's going to help you with to get clarity on how you can actually do that.
Yeah, this is so awesome. And now tell people a little bit more about where they can find you, if you have anything upcoming to share. Anything in the pipeline?
So my actual site is called, well, the name of the company, so it's callstorybranding.com. And if they go in there, I think by the time this comes out, there's going to be like a new webinar that we'll have, which again is going to give people practical steps about some of the systems that we use to actually help people get like predictable income, because that's one of the things that I found, especially when you're starting out, as you said, same thing. Like I come across a lot of people who are coaches, and one of the reasons you feel like a fraud is because you actually don't have any clients, right? You know, 1 or 2 clients and stuff, or you have a couple of clients and then you stop doing whatever you're doing, And then, and then you're like, okay, I need to do something now. And so what we help our clients with is actually putting systems in place so you can actually have predictable and consistent income.
Yeah.
Which is what we really want. As you and I both came from fashion, but other people in corporate, that's the thing that I think scares people most, is how can I actually have consistent income? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Move away from that paycheck to paycheck to kind of winging it with no kind of net. It's scary. And so that's what we try and help people get over that, so they can have something consistency and sustainability in the business.
Yes, and it is possible. And I really want all of you, if you have a business and you need to grow it, or you're going up and down roller coaster, especially, I feel like it's, healers, coaches, service-based entrepreneurs that we all work with. This is such a common occurrence. So please download this guide, this book. It will definitely help you. And Carolyn's speaking the truth, and there's a lot of people out there that really aren't teaching this. So I'm really glad you're talking about it. And this has been really great to have you. I could talk forever about this, especially I would love to talk about fashion background, but we'll get to that another time.
Yes.
I'm glad you made it out though.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us, Beth. It's been really good. It's been really good to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And it was really great. And everybody be sure to join us tomorrow on more interviews on the True Path Entrepreneur. Thanks.